For 3 months, I had the pleasure of following and documenting a family of sandhill cranes. I had this idea to see if I could find them on a nest and document the birth of their chicks and the growth of their chicks and everything that they go through and in their life, all of the threats and problems. So this video is a little bit different than my normal videos, a lot less technical, more of a story. In fact, it's pretty much a story that is the definition of life itself. This is the incredible story of a family of sandhill cranes. On my first day in the wetlands, I'm greeted by this great blue heron who seems to be welcoming the rising sun. I can't help but notice the morning steam rising from the surface of the lake. The temperature is a little chilly this morning. I watch these two egrets as they argue over which spot is best. A white pelican is here on winter break, the perfect spot to relax. This common moorhen didn't seem to mind me watching as it gathered breakfast from the bottom of the lake. A beautiful male and female blue-winged teal duck are also busy looking for food. The entire area is just loaded with wildlife. The amount of birds here is just absolutely incredible. There are a lot of local species, and then a bunch of migratory birds have joined in as well. But this is what I've come here for, a nesting pair of sandhill cranes. I'm eager to see what's on the nest, but it looks like I'm gonna have to wait. A new day begins, and 3 cormorants welcome the sun. This impressive great blue heron slowly struts through the water. It's looking for breakfast. Today is the day I get my first clear shot of the nest. The sandhill cranes switch positions, and you can clearly see not 1, but 2 eggs on the nest. I spend a little time watching this sandhill crane rearrange the eggs. It's got a mission, it's got a purpose for this, and I'm wondering why. And now we know why. Things have to be just right so that this adult can lay down and start incubating the eggs. I arrive at the wetlands bright and early in the morning. It's my birthday. And as it turns out, the sandhill cranes have a very special present for me. I stop for a moment to take in the feeding frenzy. Look at all these birds, and they're all doing their own thing, gathering some food. What looks like a high-speed video is the actual pace at which these birds gather food. It's amazing to see such a wide variety of birds in such a small, concentrated area. One of the eggs has hatched. We finally get to see what was inside. At only 1 day old, the newly hatched sandhill crane is learning how to walk. Navigating this maze of vegetation is tough on new legs, and the little chick stumbles and falls quite a few times. I can't pass up this incredible opportunity, so I grab a few quick pictures of the entire family. These are a couple of proud parents, and I can say this is a pretty cool birthday present. 2 days later, and I'm back to check on the sandhill crane family. At just 3 days old, the young sandhill crane is already walking. It's a big world out there with lots to explore. Food is the #1 priority, as both adults spend every minute feeding their baby. Food is also the #1 priority for this large, hungry alligator who silently moves closer. The baby crane notices movement in the water. A hasty retreat is the best option. With both parents working full-time to collect food, the remaining egg is left unguarded. And sadly, the second egg never hatches. Another day starts, and fresh morning dewdrops cling to the intricate web of a spider. The abundant moisture is welcomed by every creature that lives in the marsh, even this multicolored insect. At this point, I've learned how to distinguish the adult sandhill cranes from one another. The mother has a perfect heart shape on top of her head. She's still relaxing, waiting for the sun to warm things up. Other birds, like this great egret, have already started searching for food. Look who decided to soak up some sun with Mom. The baby crane peeks out from the safety of Mom's feathers. A hungry eagle eyes the baby crane from above, but the eagle knows the male sandhill crane is nearby. The male sandhill crane stands guard, willing to protect his family at any cost. Feeling a little vulnerable, the baby crane decides to disappear into the safety of Mom's feathers. Now that the rest is over, the female sandhill crane is busy looking for food. The baby crane decides this is the perfect time to start preening. Another predator slithers onto the scene. This southern black racer eyes the baby crane with its hypnotizing glare. Both adult sandhill cranes shove their long, sharp beaks into the mud in search of fat grubs. The southern black racer decides to take a closer look. It uses its forked tongue to smell the air. Sometimes, predators become prey. One of the adult sandhill cranes has captured a snake, and together, both adults break the snake into bite-sized pieces and feed it to the chick. The male sandhill crane devours half of the snake, while the female tries to get the chick to eat the remaining piece. Seeing that his young chick is having trouble with the snake's tail, the male sandhill crane decides to find something else for his baby to eat. He brings his chick a big, tasty spider, and like a small child who has just been served a steamy plate of broccoli, the chick is very reluctant to eat it. Waste not, want not, the mom decides to finish the snake. At this point, both parents are feeding their chick anything they can find so the chick can outgrow the threat of predation. It seems snakes aren't the only reptiles on the menu. The female has captured an invasive brown anole lizard. And as it turns out, this lizard is larger than the chick's head. The chick is very reluctant to eat this lizard. In fact, it has a difficult time getting it down. I wanted to capture this moment with an image, so I stopped filming and got a few quick pictures of the chick trying to swallow this large lizard. Nothing quite like trying to swallow a lizard head first. Here you can clearly see both legs sticking out of the side of the chick's mouth, and in the last image, the lizard is almost gone. At this point, I've spent an entire week with the Sandhill Crane family, and these are a few of my favorite images from that week that capture some really incredible moments. In these first few images, the chick was so young and so small, and the grass everywhere was so tall, and I was always there early in the morning, so the chick was always soaking wet from the fresh morning dew. This shot is a great example of just how tiny the chick was compared to the adults. Here's a great shot of the mom feeding the chick, each one of them holding on to this little worm. There were so many awesome moments with this little chick that it's really difficult to pick a favorite. In fact, I don't think I can. It's amazing how images have the ability to capture all of that life and personality. In the rest of these shots, the chick is exactly 1 week old and it's already practically doubled in size. Look at all the stickers covering the chick's chest and neck. They were all over this little guy all the time. It's amazing to see how much the chick has grown in such a short amount of time. And I really like this image. It captures an incredible moment between the mother and the baby as the baby was resting and getting warm on the mother's back. And this last shot is the perfect family shot. You can see both adults and the chick, and the lighting was really good to really show off the orange color that was on the male Sandhill crane. I arrived on the second week to continue documenting the Sandhill cranes, and unfortunately the location where I've been tracking them was closed for restoration, and it would be closed for an entire month. So I was a little worried that I wouldn't be able to find them after that month was up, and I was also concerned that the chick might not make it and it might fall to the threat of predation. But my adventure with these cranes wasn't over yet. 1 month later, and the wetlands have finally reopened, and of course I'm there first thing in the morning in search of the cranes. The large amount of birds I spot in the first pond is a really good sign. But the predators are also still here. This bald eagle watches me very closely. And the alligators watch closely too. I hope the entire Sandhill crane family is still here. And I finally find the mom, but where are the other two? Ah, there's Dad, but where's the chick? There it is, and wow, what a difference a month has made. Look at the size of it. At 1 month old, the chick is now about 10 times the size it was when it was born. It's absolutely incredible how much the chick has grown. Let's take a closer look. The chick still has a lot of baby down and some of that orange coloring that it had when it was so tiny. In this shot, you can see just how big the chick has gotten. And look at the size of those feet. They're huge. The chick sees something interesting on the ground. Whoa, whatever it was startled the chick, but curiosity keeps the chick coming back. As it turns out, it's just some old dead vegetation. I'm not sure, but I think the chick is trying to tell Mom that it wants to get on her back and in the feathers like it did when it was little. And of course, being the good mom that this crane is, she's gonna let him. I think the chick just realized it's not going to fit. Mom starts the daily search for food. The chick does a nice little stretch, while Dad watches over both of them. The male Sandhill crane is quite larger and very, very powerful. He's able to provide the protection that his family needs. Under the watchful eye of Dad, the chick decides it's the perfect time to relax. But the hungry alligators are still watching very closely. I arrive the next morning right after sunrise and find Dad and the chick looking for food among the flowers. And as usual, Mom seems to be the one feeding the chick. She's always got the best food, and the chick knows this. I'm really digging this little chick's hairstyle. It looks like a flat top crew cut. I bet you didn't notice, but you can actually see the food as it slides down the chick's throat and moves down its neck. Here, let me reverse it for you and play it again. I highlighted the area where the piece of food starts, and then you can watch it slowly move down the chick's neck. And it's back to feeding with Mom. Dad hears something in the distance. It's another group of Sandhill cranes, and together, the Mom and Dad decide to answer their call. That is the unmistakable sound of the Sandhill crane, and if you listen real close, you can hear the other ones in the background. I really wish I knew what they were saying. This happened several times while I was out filming this family. 2 weeks later, and I'm back to check on the cranes. I arrive a little later than usual and find both mom and dad busy preening themselves. If you look very closely, you can see the chick. It's asleep in the grass directly behind them and to the left. The Sandhill Cranes are the apex birds in this area, and other birds like these great egrets know this. When the Sandhill Cranes move through, the other birds get out of the way. And as usual, the dad is leading the pack. I've noticed he has a very distinguishable mark above his left leg. If you look closely, you can clearly see it in this shot. It looks almost like a dimple. It's business as usual until the dad hears some Sandhill Cranes off in the distance. Now that the chick is much larger, the entire family is moving around quite a bit through this area of wetlands. It wasn't unusual to follow them for a good 1.5 miles each morning. I've noticed how the Sandhill Cranes in Florida have this kind of orange tint to their feathers, where the other Sandhill Cranes I've seen all over the United States are more of a silver color. And the mom is about to show me why this is. Check out the mom dipping her beak in that orange-colored mud, and then she wipes it all over her feathers. And the little one's watching too and starting to do exactly what she does. The baby's not quite as good as mom yet, but it's trying. The cranes are on the move again, and now that they're moving so much, they're getting harder and harder to locate each day. With the expanded range comes flying lessons. I wasn't fortunate enough to get this with video, but I did manage to grab a couple of cool pictures. The dad is the first to show the chick how it's done with his impressive wingspan. All you have to do is jump and hold your wings out. The mom joins in as the chick fumbles around. The chick tries its best as dad watches. The chick isn't quite ready for flight, but we do get to see its impressive wingspan. 10 days later, and I'm back at the wetlands to check on the cranes. As I'm filming this butterfly, I notice the cranes off in the distance, and it looks like they're in trouble. Before I can get set up for video, a huge alligator rushes out of the water and comes after the cranes. I watch in total disbelief as both the mom and dad force this huge alligator back into the water. This was the first time I've actually seen the alligator come after the cranes, but I don't think it's the first time this has happened. The two adults seemed to know exactly what they were doing. After that scare, I decide to give the cranes a little break and see what else I can find in the wetlands. I find this family of otters busy eating some fish. A family of ducks swims by. Apparently the wetlands is loaded with quite a few new families. I make my way back to the cranes, and it looks like the chick is sitting in a hole. In reality, it's sitting on its ankles. A lot of people think that this is the bird's knees, but it's not. This is their ankles. At 2 months old, it's really obvious how much the chick has grown. It's lost all the soft, downy feathers, and its legs are now much darker. It's been a pretty rough day for the chick. A well-deserved nap is in order. Watch how the chick falls asleep and uses its beak to hold its head up. Three weeks goes by, and I'm back at the wetlands searching for the crane family. I notice this large brown feather floating on the surface of the water, and all I can think about is how the alligator attacked the Sandhill Crane family on my last visit. And then I find the alligator, and this feather stuck to its nose tells me the alligator has recently eaten a bird. I hope this feather didn't come from one of the Sandhill Cranes. And then, way off in the distance, I hear the cranes. This is my cue to pack up my gear and see if I can find them. And as usual, here's Dad, standing tall and watching over his family. Mom and the chick are busy looking for food, and I use this opportunity to get a few really good pictures. The chick is almost as big as Mom, and Mom is showing the chick how to use that beak to find some tasty food. Even though the chick is perfectly capable of catching its own food, Mom is still doing her thing and feeding the chick herself. It looks like crickets, grasshoppers, and caterpillars are on today's menu. In this last shot, we get to see just how big the chick has gotten. It's definitely lost all of its down, and you can even see a little bit of the red cap coming in on top of its head. The entire family goes for a nice stroll around the lake while Mom and Dad take turns feeding the chick. A large thunderstorm appears on the horizon, and I decide it's best to leave the Sandhill Crane family for the day. I arrive at the wetlands the next morning in search of the Sandhill Cranes, and I spent a good couple of hours going over the entire area, and I couldn't find them. So I packed up my gear, and I headed back to the truck. And as I'm loading all my gear into my truck, a pair of cranes flies in from the left and lands over on my left side. I didn't think much of it because the family I'm following is a family of 3. And as I'm loading my gear into the truck, this pair comes down a little bit closer and they start making a noise. Specifically, the adult started making a noise. So I turn and look, and it is the family I'm following, but it's just one adult and one chick. One of the adults is missing, and the other adult is acting extremely peculiar, and it's making a sound I've never heard before. And honestly, the sound was kind of haunting, and it gave me the impression that this crane was looking for the other one, and the other one was missing. I grabbed my little handheld camera and started filming as they approached, and if you'll notice, the adult is making this strange noise, almost like it's calling out to the other one. What's up, guys? At this point, another really big thunderstorm came in and pushed me out of the area, and so I decided to go home. And the entire time I was at home, all I could think about was the cranes and that there was something wrong. So luckily, I don't live far from this location, and I grabbed my son and I asked him to come back with me to see what he thought was going on. As soon as we arrive, the adult Sandhill crane is waiting for us, and it's still making this somewhat hunting call. At this point, I know something is seriously wrong. I have a feeling that they're trying to lead me towards the other crane, but they're going out of the wetlands and towards a busy road. Suddenly, I have this realization that one of the Sandhill cranes has been hit by a car, and it's in the ditch on the side of the road. I don't know how I knew this, but I did. And unfortunately, my gut instinct was right. This is when things get really heartbreaking. I watched the chick walk down into the ditch to the injured adult, and it was at this point that I realized the injured adult was the female, it was the mother. And there was a moment between these two birds that was more human than anything I think I have ever experienced in the animal world. They were kind of consoling each other, and the chick was trying to get the mother to come out, but she obviously couldn't because of her injuries. So I spent some time on the phone trying to find somebody to help me actually get the bird out of the ditch. I called several different bird rehab places. Nobody could come out. I called the local authorities. Nobody could come out. And then finally, I got a hold of an animal control officer who said he could come out because he had a blanket, some towels, and a big net. But he was not allowed to go into the ditch. And I said, well, there's no question about it. I'll go in the ditch.
Can you put your net over the top of him?
Yep.
Oh.
Yep, just net them as soon as you can. There you go. Now if you can bring them.
I can tell you this was getting a little freaky because I started to sink in this mud. And with all the alligators and big turtles around here, there's no telling what might be down there. I was told to be very careful because when these birds are injured and you're trying to help, sometimes they go right for your face with that big sharp beak. So I was trying to be as easy as possible without hurting the bird and without scaring it.
Got them?
Yeah.
Don't worry about the net.
Oh my Lord.
Getting you out. How are you gonna?
You need help?
I think I'm all right.
You good?
Yeah. You can just grab that part of the net.
Let's get them down on the ground here.
At this point, I let the animal control officer do his thing. He suggested that we inspect the bird and then move it and see if maybe it could fly. Maybe it was just stuck in the mud.
Leg looks different than the other, but I don't know what that. See how he's not like spreading it out. I don't know.
Let's get them out of here, close to the road.
I think I should take him to the vet.
Yeah, he needs to go.
Yeah, his.
Let's get a...
So we've got him in here now
I need my keys.
to hold him down in the
Do
box.
you have my keys?
Gonna take him to
Hey, thank you so much.
some sort of rehab center, I believe.
All right, my son and I transported the female Sandhill Crane to a hospital that was about an hour away. When I brought the crane in, we brought it in the box, and it actually went for my hand in the box and poked me with its beak, so I was really optimistic that things were going to be okay. The animal hospital kept the crane for 2 days, and then on the second day called me with the bad news that the crane didn't make it. It had some serious injuries to an entire side of its body. Its wing was badly dislocated and its hip was badly dislocated. It was definitely hit by a car. And I hate to end this story on a sad note, so I'm not going to. I shared this incredible Sandhill Crane experience with a photographer friend of mine, and he said something that made a lot of sense. The female Sandhill Crane may have died, but she can now live on forever in this story, and by sharing this story, I can help bring awareness to the amazing world around us. When I started this journey, I had this idea in my head of how everything would turn out. I knew the baby crane would face some very difficult challenges, and I thought the alligator would wind up being the biggest problem. I never once considered that one of the adults would die as a direct result of humans. I thoroughly enjoyed every single second I spent with these magnificent birds, and this experience has humbled me, saddened me, and taught me much more than I thought I would learn. On my last trip to the wetlands, I found the dad and his chick, and I was extremely happy to get these final images of the chick taking flight and leaving the wetlands. I'm 100% positive that the chick will return next spring so the circle of life can continue. I really appreciate you sticking around until the end, and I would love to hear your thoughts on this experience. Please feel free to leave them in the comment section below, and as always, feel free to share and like the video too. Thanks for watching.